Good afternoon, welcome back to my channel where I'm going to basically do a question and answer. Now, I obviously asked a lot of people on Twitter to get back to me, and I've had a fair few responses from a fair few people. So, obviously, the international break, boring time of it, as we say. So, yeah, I thought I would do this Q&A. So we'll see what questions we've got. So the first question I have is from my good friend Andrew Rogers, and he has asked: You've got one player to add to both of your football teams, Liverpool and Livingston, in their leagues. Who are you taking and why? Thank you for the question, Andrew. Um, one player who I'd like to add to Liverpool and Livingston. Um, Good question. Very good. It's a very good question. Very good question. I think for Liverpool, I would probably take an attacking midfielder because I think we're just missing somebody in the midfield to sort of open the door, basically, to defences. And that player for me is Bruno Fernandes. I would love to have Bruno Fernandes. I've seen. I don't watch a lot of Portuguese football, but I have seen a fair few games with Sporting, and he played last season. If you remember, against Arsenal, I think he was pretty good in that game. So, yeah, I think obviously Bruno Fernandes is a player I think every club would want, especially with Manchester United being continually linked with him, Liverpool being continually linked with him, Tottenham being continually linked with him. Obviously, he nearly went to Real Madrid. That did not happen, but if you've got a player that you would want in your team, it is definitely Bruno Fernandes. So that is definitely who I want for Liverpool. Livingston, um, good, another good question. Wow, I wonder. I would probably say for Livingston, gosh, any player. This night really got me. In my honest opinion, I would bring Sean Byrne back to Livingston. Now the reason is I think he's been a pretty good signing for Dundee, even though they have been losing. But he is a different player to Marvin Bartley. I think Marvin Bartley has been a superb signing so far, but Sean Byrne was very good, and quite honestly, surprised he left. But obviously, he has been a bit of like a mainstay in that midfield. So it's a wee bit surprising that we let him go. But obviously, I would bring them back. But if I had to bring someone in who I would think would make us a lot better. That's a really good question. I'm not sure. I'm not honestly not sure, but if I was to bring past players back, then I would probably bring Liam Kelly back. And the reason is I think Ross Stewart has been good. I'm not taking anything from that. Liam Kelly was exceptional last season. I know he had a few mistakes in him, but I think the reason that we are conceding goals is that we haven't got a very good defence and we haven't got a very good goalkeeper, I don't think. So I would say Liam Kelly or Sean Byrne to bring back to Livingston because I think they would improve the team, definitely. And I think that will be so. My answers to both of your questions are I would bring Bruno Fernandes to Liverpool. I would also bring Sean Byrne or Liam Kelly back to Livingston. That's just mine. Okay, second question, and these are all on Twitter. Andrew Rogers' one was on Messenger, so thank you, Andrew, for that. Bob Mills, and this is at GleeAnL, and he has asked, "Who is your relegation tips?" Now, obviously, if people have watched my Premier League predicted table, you will know who my relegation tips are. So at the start of the season, I said Brighton to finish 20th, Newcastle to finish 19th, and Sheffield United to finish 18th. Now, Brighton have started pretty well. I'm not going to deny that. Newcastle, they've started okay. I mean, they beat Spurs, which no one saw. No one saw coming. It's all about consistency for Newcastle. Sheffield United, they've started okay. I mean, they beat Crystal Palace. They drew with Bournemouth. And then obviously they lost to Leicester. So, and they drew with Chelsea. So they've had a pretty decent start. 5 points from 3 games is a pretty good start for Sheffield United. So they are my relegation tips. I'm going to stick with those. But obviously, Watford getting rid of Kike Sanchez Flores, Watford getting rid of Javi Gracia, then you could say that they could be relegation candidates. I would worry for Burnley. I would worry for Southampton as well. But I'm going to stick with my 3 that I think are going to go down. I think that Sheffield United 18th, Newcastle United 19th, and Brighton in 20th. I'm sticking to my 3. So they were my 3 at the start of the season. And if you want to know my SPFL to go down, I've got Hamilton to go down, and I've got St Mirren to finish 11th. So we'll see what happens in that one. But yeah, so thank you very much, Bob, for your question. My next question comes from one of my good friends and Sam Radio Football presenter, Nick Salerno, and he's at nsalerno5. What was the best Livingston goal you've ever seen? Wow. Best Livingston goal I've seen. I mean, I was at Rangers Livingston in 2002. That was a 4-3 game where Rolando Zarate scored an absolute beauty of a free kick into the top bins against Rangers, against Stefan Klos. So I remember seeing that one. There was I would probably say, if you're looking back to last season, I think Stephen Lawless against Hamilton was pretty good. It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting that. I think probably because it meant so much to us, the Livingston goal that I've seen, probably the best I've seen. In terms of how important it was, I'm going to go for Keegan Jacobs at Partick, because that was the goal that sent Livingston back into the SPFL Premiership. So I'll go with that one. But as far as what goals live, I would say Rolando Zarate against Rangers at Ibrox was pretty impressive. But for that, I will go for Keegan Jacobs. So I'm going to go for Keegan Jacobs for the best Livingston goal I've ever seen. But there are some very, very good candidates in that one. I suppose you could say Jamie McAllister at Hampden when he ran the whole length of the pitch to score. Fernandez plays him through, and then Jamie McAllister goes on and slots it past Anderson in the Hibs goal. So yeah, I'll probably say Jamie McAllister. Actually, I'll say Jamie McAllister for Livingston against Hibs, because that was how important. That was our first trophy as well. So I'll say that one. Thank you, Nick, for your question. Mr. Exclusive. Now, obviously, if you haven't seen my Premier League predictions, me and him are going head to head this season. So to see who comes out on top. So the next question comes from Mr. Exclusive, and he is at the OGS Effect, and his first question is, how much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? No idea. No idea. So I will say that now. No idea. But the next question he asked me was, if you can call it now, what player from your academy, I'm guessing that's Liverpool, do you think will hit first team next? I would probably say Rhian Brewster would probably be the most obvious one, I would think. And then I think it's a toss-up between Larouci at left back, Adam Lewis, Curtis Jones, and then I would probably say Glatzel, who's looked pretty impressive in pre-season, I must say. So those would be the ones that I would say are definitely. But I would probably say at this moment in time Rhian Brewster, because I think he will probably be used most of the season. In fact, so I'll say Rhian Brewster. So thank you very much, Mr. Exclusive, for your question. And now we've got a question from Scotty99, which is at a True Well Fan 1. And he's asked, what's the best player you've seen play in the Premier League? Now, obviously, being born in 1992, I didn't see much of the first couple of seasons. I probably started watching the Premier League sort of 2001, 2002. And for me, the best player to have played in the Premier League, well, there's a few options. I could say Gianfranco Zola, who was absolutely superb at Chelsea. I could say Thierry Henry at Arsenal, absolutely superb player at Arsenal. I could say Roy Keane at Manchester United. He's very, very good captain. Very, very good captain at Manchester United. Ryan Giggs, I could say. Steven Gerrard, I could say. Alan Shearer, I could say. Best player. I'm going to say, because obviously growing up in those sort of days means you weren't meant to see much football. But obviously I started supporting Livingston sort of in the 1997, 99 season. And then obviously Liverpool, like I've been a Liverpool fan all my life, so what's the best player you've seen play in the Premier League? I would probably say Thierry Henry. I think the fact he scored so many goals for Arsenal was absolutely key. And I could have said Dennis Bergkamp, because Dennis Bergkamp was something else. He really was something else. And then obviously I could have said Ryan Giggs, because Ryan Giggs was superb for Manchester United, really superb. But Thierry Henry is probably the best foreigner, sort of since obviously Eric Cantona, sort of the best Frenchman probably to play in the Premier League. Yeah, Thierry Henry just had something else. He was just a goal scorer supreme. Won a few Premier League titles as well. So the man just oozed class, and he was a very good pundit. Obviously, it's not much work for him at management. So yeah, but Thierry Henry, I will say, because I think he was just something else. And I think he's probably the best out of that lot that I've said. But Zola would definitely be in there for his trickery, because Zola was something else as well. And then I'll say Thierry Henry, but there's a lot of players that have been fantastic. Really, 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 really good players. Definitely. So thank you, Scotty, for your question. LCFC Boya is the next one, and this is at LCFC underscore Boya underscore YT, so that's YouTube, and that's all capitals as well. Most underrated player in the Premier League. Wow. Underrated. There are a few options. Mostly saying your big centre back Kaglar Siyunku, who I think has been absolutely outstanding since obviously Harry Maguire left. Madison, he seems to be getting a lot of good praise from him. Most underrated player. Do you know what? I'm going to have to say Guendouzi at Arsenal. And I think the reason is, I think he was brought in last season as a sort of a signing that's one for the future. But to be fair, he has come in and he's played really, really well. And I think you can kind of see that he's been playing pretty good as well. Most underrated player. I would probably say Guendouzi, but probably followed by Kagler Siyunku. And then, I could probably go through a few teams who have got underrated players. Like Arsenal, I've said Guendouzi. Aston Villa, I have to say John McGinn because, he's been superb. So my four would be, I would probably say that the four I'll probably go for is, and then I could add sort of Zinchenko in there as well at Manchester City. Actually, do you know what? Joel Matip is another one. I think he's been given so much praise lately as well. But yeah. So I have a list of five. I've gone for Guendouzi. I've gone for John McGinn, Joe Matip, actually that's three. Kaglar Siyunku, and then obviously James Maddison. So those would be my five. So I would say Guendouzi, Siyunku, Matip, Maddison, and McGinn. Those would be my five. So thank you very much for your question, LCFC Boya. I knew this one was coming. Miss Carl at Mr. Carl Edgar. Do you think Liverpool can win the title this season? I'm going to answer this as truthfully as possible, okay? In a way, I think Liverpool should have strengthened in the summer. Now, I think they're missing a piece of the jigsaw, and I think it is a midfield player. Aymeric Laporte's injury to Manchester City is a bit of a blow, but how much of a blow is going to be interesting, because I think he is probably, at this moment in time, City's best centre-back. So he is going to be a big miss for those 4 months. And obviously City have got Liverpool, they have Manchester United, I think they've got Arsenal, and I think they've got Chelsea in those 4 months. So it's going to be very, very interesting. At the start of the season, I did say Manchester City. But looking at it at the moment, Liverpool seem to have carried on from last season. Obviously, they've obviously had a few games to digest and be allowed to obviously get to the top of the league. There's been some tough games in there. I mean, they've got Southampton out of the way, they've got Burnley out of the way, and they are not easy places to go. So Manchester City will still. I think whoever beats Manchester City first will win the title. That's simple as that. At this moment in time, I would say yes. But overall, I just do think Man City are a little bit stronger than Liverpool. But this is just me answering this truthfully. Of course, I wouldn't want Liverpool to win the league. Of course, I want Liverpool to win the league. Of course, I want Liverpool to end 30 years of hurt, of going through 30 years with a league title. Of course, I do. I also think the games against Manchester United are going to be very, very important because I think we need to win both of those, especially going to Old Trafford as well. So, if we can, we need to cut out the silly draws as well. We had some silly draws last season. We had draws against Leicester, we had draws against West Ham. Um, those are the ones that really kind of decided the league for that. So, to answer your question truthfully, do I think Liverpool can win the title this season? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. But it's going to depend on how Manchester City do. I honestly think Liverpool should just focus on what they're doing. Don't focus on Manchester City. Even obviously, if they do slip up, then that's a bonus, absolute bonus for us. But it would be very, very interesting to see if we could win the title. Obviously, without Manchester City's mistakes, I don't think we've got the squad to do it. But stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. I think it is possible this season. I think it is possible. I think it will go down to the wire again. So it's going to depend on. It is going to depend on those games against Manchester City, Anfield, and at the Etihad. That was obviously the Etihad one is in the start of April, which is very, very interesting. So that's going to be interesting as well. So at this moment in time, I will say yes. I'm staying positive. But I've tried to answer that as truthfully as possible. So thank you very much, Carl, for your question. Okay, the next question comes from Carl Levy, who is my co-host of the football show, and he has asked me. He's actually asked me two questions. What do you? This is at Carl Levy 92. What do you think about Danny Cowley being the new manager of Huddersfield Town? It is a gamble. I won't say that. I won't say it's not. I think it is a gamble. I think Sheffield Wednesday would have been a better proposition for him. But he does have to test himself. And I think he's done very well at Lincoln. I think he has done very well at Lincoln. So he's going in there at Huddersfield. It's not a very good atmosphere at the moment, without a shadow of a doubt. So I would say that it is a gamble. But Huddersfield have been bold. They've gone for an inexperienced manager. So good luck to Danny Cowley. Good luck to him, and I hope he does get the time at Huddersfield. It'll be very, very interesting to see what happens. What happens for that for him. And then he asked me another question: is Steve Clarke under pressure now? Honestly, being honest, he does need to get us to a major competition, but it's not going to be a quick fix. I also think that the squad that he played last night kind of shows that we have not got a very big squad. It has to be said for that. So I think you would have to say that he is probably under pressure to probably win, to get us to a major competition. We have always got the playoff later on, so that's going to be interesting. But for obviously qualifying automatically for the Euros, it's now over. Because obviously losing to Russia and then losing to Belgium last night, it's kind of the damage was done basically at the start of the group anyway. You were looking at the group, you would probably want to take 6 points from Kazakhstan and San Marino. We only took 3. So I think I think the problem is that we've not got the players at the moment to challenge. I don't think we've got the players to even. I don't think we've got the players to even sort of kick on. So I think that's another reason. But is he under pressure? I think he's under pressure to get us to a major competition. But as far as his job is concerned, no, no, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say he's under pressure. No way. No way. And I think people calling for his head already are just stupid, really, really stupid. Yes, we had a poor game last night, but we had a good start against Russia and kind of got scared a little bit. So yeah, but no, I wouldn't say Steve Clarke's under pressure. No, I wouldn't say that yet. Now, this is NWMUYT, and this is at NWMYT. So this is Nathan from his channel. Nathan Morgan, that's it, Nathan Morgan. Obviously, you can catch him on the Bluebirds YouTube channel. They do predictions as well. So he's asked me 3 questions. So first question is: if the Scottish national team was to qualify in the future, what needs to be changed? Wow. Do you know what? I think the whole of the SFA needs changed. I think they definitely need to get that changed. I think we do need to get more kids getting involved in football. I mean, you saw Chris Boyd last night. He said that kids of today don't want to play football. They're on computers or they're on sort of something like that. So, we are actually stopping kids playing football on the streets. So I think there'd have to be a big overhaul of the whole SFA, because I think there are people at the SFA who, let's be honest, they are football men. They're just not good at doing their jobs, I don't think. And I just think we just need a big overhaul of our squad. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's some players in there. I mean, Ollie McBurney, like, I don't get why the hype over him. I really, really don't. And I think we do have to basically get kids to be playing football. We do need to be getting them to be facing on to the fact that we do need to get more players. But yeah, it's a real shame, because we do actually need to. I think the biggest change that would have to be, there would have to be a massive overhaul of the SFA. Would have to get lots of kids involved getting into grassroots, because there's not much young players coming through now, which is really worrying. So that would be the players that are playing for Scotland at the moment is all the players we've got. There's not many players coming through, so that would be one of them. That would be definitely one of them for to do that. So yeah, I would say the SFA needs overhauled. I think the grassroots really needs overhauled as well, and I think kids need to be given football lessons up and down Scotland. It's not just in like Glasgow or Edinburgh. I think everything will have to do with that. So that's that one answered. What should change so another Bury incident should never happen again? Certainly need to have the fit and proper test evaluated, because obviously Steve Dale managed to get through that. How he did, I don't know. I think if teams are under like financial trouble, then obviously I think as a whole, clubs, big clubs or just local clubs should get involved and give money to teams. That would be my guess. Yeah, what's happened to Bury and Bolton have been absolutely ridiculous, really. Very very sad as well. So I think, yeah, I think probably clubs would have to get together. Obviously, if there's any teams in the financial trouble, then I think transfer budgets need to be looked at. I think like I said, the fit and proper test of owners has to be evaluated as well. Um, yeah, I would say the evaluating for the owners bit would be interesting. So I think that's probably what I would say about that one. Also, I think that money has to be a problematic area for teams that are in financial trouble as well. So yeah, I would say probably evaluate the owners' fit and proper test, because obviously we have had some very corrupt owners that have come into the football clubs. Um, and yeah, I would probably say that if you know that a team is in financial difficulty, then I think that would be very very interesting to see what would happen. So I think yeah, I would say evaluate the fit and proper test for the owners, and then I would get clubs together and like offer to give some money to Bury that they can or some money to basically a team that is about to fall under, and I think then that would save them definitely. Um, and the third and final question that he asked me was, what do you think Liverpool should do to push to win the league? I have probably already answered this. I think maybe one more player would be the final piece in the jigsaw. Make sure we don't get silly draws next season, and to try and maybe go the whole season unbeaten. But it's not possible. That is going to be very very difficult to do. Um, and I think if obviously the games are going to pile up for Liverpool. There's no doubt about that. So I think we need to do is definitely sign a midfield player to just sort of unlock defences, and then that would be good. So I think get away from the silly draws. Try and basically don't focus on what Manchester City are doing, and then obviously do that. So thank you very much, Nathan, for your questions. And finally, I have three questions from Guy and Balam 2019, and that's his Twitter account. He's asked, "What do you think of the back of LFC backup left back players?" Well, obviously Moreno has gone, so obviously we've got Larucci and we've got Adam Lewis. I think both are determined to get through. I think they're very very good. Obviously, we couldn't play James Milner at left back, but that's something I don't want to do. Yeah, I think the future is bright at Liverpool. I think Larucci is definitely one of those players that's going to be very very good. He's only 18, and then Adam Lewis, he's coming through as well. So I think they're going to be a very very good players in the future for sure. So I'd definitely say that they're definitely going to be involved in the first team at some point. Hopefully it's this season. Hopefully they get involved at MK Dons maybe, because that's Liverpool's next cup game. So hopefully that would be good. But I've no concerns about Larucci or Adam Lewis coming through. I think they're very very good. So that'd be good. So I think they're very very good. Next question: who is the better goalkeeper, Adrian or Simon Mignolet? In my honest opinion, watching Adrian in the last couple of games, he is rash. He is a good shot stopper. But the problem is that he is rash. He can concede penalties. Mignolet didn't really have that problem. He was more of he didn't really save. Well, he was a shot stopper, but his distribution and obviously kicking wasn't great. Although Adrian is not his kicking's not been very good either. Interesting. I would probably say at this moment in time, Adrian, considering that Mignolet didn't really win anything. Obviously, last season the Champions League, but I would say Adrian for the fact that he's won the Super Cup, and he was pivotal in that game. So yeah, I would have to say Adrian, but it's a very close race between those two for sure. Very close race for sure. And the final question I have is: do you think West Ham's Mikel Antonio deserves a chance for England? He's 27. This is the problem that England have, is that they have a very good squad coming through. I mean, people are asking me, should Ashley Barnes get a chance in England? But he's Austrian. If many people didn't know that. So I think James Maddison should be getting more of a chance for England. But the problem is for Mikel Antonio, he is more of a wide player. He is a striker as well. And we've obviously, England have probably got more players at that level. So I think he does deserve a chance, but whether he gets it or not is another matter. And I think the problem is that there's so many players in that position that it's going to be very tricky for him to get into the England team. So unfortunately, I just think that 27 years old, I just think he's maybe sort of cutting it. He's maybe losing his chance to have a crack at the England team. So I think he does deserve a chance, but I don't see him getting any games anytime soon. That's my take on that one. So that is it. Thank you very much to everyone for asking me questions. And I hope I've answered them truthfully. Obviously, the Bury thing I've no idea about, so I tried to answer that as truthfully. Obviously, there's other questions in there. Obviously, the Liverpool one. There's a few Liverpool ones in there. So if I've always answered them to the best of the ability, then that's absolutely fine. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please smash the like button, please smash the subscribe button, and obviously share this as well. Thank you to everyone who got involved on Twitter and Messenger for giving me questions, and I'll be back tomorrow with my Premier League predictions for game week 5, so that should be good, or that'll be Thursday. I might give my voice of you best. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll be back very soon. Take care everyone, bye bye.